Women in Management, Business, and Public Service, WIMBIZ for short, is a nonprofit organization focused on increasing and supporting the female success rate of female entrepreneurs and the proportion of women in senior positions in corporate organizations and public service. Over the last 20 years, WIMBIZ has inspired, empowered, and canvassed for better representation of women in politics and the economy. Through its advocacy, it has directly impacted more than 216,000 women in Nigeria and beyond. The organization has also demonstrated passion in pursuing gender inclusion in the various professions, albeit against established stereotypes and traditions. And with the approach of another electoral season in less than 2 years, WIMBIZ is also on the forefront of the call for women to vie for top elective positions. With all of these on the table, including preparations for the association's 20th annual conference, we are now being joined by Ngover Ihyembe-Nwankwo, the chairperson and executive council member of the Women in Management, Business, and Public Service. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you for joining us here on Newsday.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Okay.
So we know as women, sorry, Aaron, we know the challenges women face in the areas of business and entrepreneurship. We know that there's organizations that are here to help. But I'm wondering if there's any governmental help, if there's any things that the government can do to help and step in and advocate for women on a larger scale. And also some of your success stories from WIMBIZ, that can be after we speak of the challenges.
Thanks, Hawa. So, there are a number of challenges. And we continuously, as an organization at WIMBIZ, advocate in different areas. Trying to get the story out there, making sure that there's the facts and the figures behind the challenges so that we can get the right amount of support. So, clearly, when you look at political representation, we're very, very far behind what is ideal. And so we've been advocating for things such as looking at the electoral laws, making sure there's a level playing field, and making sure that where there are things like violence, a very hard stance is taken against the perpetrators, because those are some of the things that typically make women not necessarily want to be part of it. And when you look at business, for example, one of the areas you see women continuously complaining about is access to capital. And of course, the myriad of laws that they're having to contend with. So we also sort of advocate for ways to make the ease of doing business even easier.
Okay.
And then we also look at ways to help women access capital by working with a number of organizations. So in Lagos State, for example, LSCTF works very closely with us to provide funding for entrepreneurs. And I can go on and on and on, but yes, there's a lot to be done, and there's a lot that we are doing.
Well, there's a lot that's already in motion, and that's commendable.
Yeah, commendable, I must say. Okay, so okay, Ngover, let me find out from you. Like Hawa said in the opening, introductory to this particular story, that's 20 years,
Yes.
2 decades.
Yes.
So talk to us. How has WIMBIZ repositioned women in the workplace? What are the success stories? How has it changed the paradigm?
So the interesting thing about WIMBIZ is that it was actually conceptualized by a man.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Some men are feminists as well. You know this.
Ironical.
Yes. So the only male member of our board of trustees, a gentleman called Chichi Okonjo. And he sort of had seen his wife struggling in sort of mid-management to battle with the challenges of the home front, as well as doing well at work and succeeding. And he wanted her to sort of have role models. And he spoke to his boss, who happened to be Dr. Mabola Johnson, to say, look, I'm thinking about this. What about a group of you coming together and forming something that gives women hope? And that's really the birth of WIMBIZ. And so a conversation was held around a kitchen table. Women were pulled in, and WIMBIZ started. And in the 20 years since we've been in existence, WIMBIZ runs along 4 major pillars. So our first one is inspire, and we empower, we advocate, and then we connect. So we have various programs along the pillars. But to speak specifically to impact is what you asked about. One of the things that we are most proud about is we had His Royal Highness Lamido Sanusi at at one of our events about 9 years ago now, just before he became CBN. I think he was CBN governor then. And there was a conversation. The theme of that particular event was women in leadership positions. And in that conversation, it came out that we need to see more women represented. And so he shared with us that he was going to shortly be putting more women on the board of the CBN. And he was also going to work with the CBN to put a sustainable principles guidelines in place to see more women in leadership positions in financial institutions. And as you well know, as at today, we have 8 female MDs of banks.
True.
Rousing round of applause.
And in fact, one of our own is a deputy governor, Mrs. Aisha Ahmad, at the central bank. She was executive council chair at WIMBIZ, sort of 2 people before me. So we do see, particularly in that field, a lot of progress. We also have something called WIMBOARD, Women on Boards, and we run a mentorship program to help women be more successful when they get to boards. So understanding the nuances around being on a board and being heard, and also developing the competencies to be successful. And so we've graduated a number of women through the program. We've got many of our WIMBOARD ambassadors, as I like to call them, on boards across various companies, really paving the way for other women. And there's so many other things that we do. We are the the first NGO to be ranked globally on the NGO index. And we're currently 428 in the world. So there's a lot that we do.
Rousing round of applause for you guys as well.
Thank you.
But when you started answering the question, I wanted us to discuss the role that men play in this in this sphere, because you said that the organization was started by someone's husband who saw the challenges his wife was going through. So can you speak to Nigeria and the people out there about the role that men play in women's business and advocating for women? Because oftentimes it's just, okay, leave it to the women, but there's actually a role that they play in advocating for us. So can you speak on that?
So to speak to Eric, we do have some amazing men, and I'm not in any way castigating men. And as I've shared from the story of WIMBIZ, you can see how it was a man who conceptualized it. And even till today, we've got very strong men who support us through everything that we do. The one thing I always say is it's not a gender war. And I think often when we start the conversation around women, there's a bit of a hesitancy, oh, they've come again. But I always say you won't fly a plane with one engine. And we see as a country, Nigeria, that from a socioeconomic perspective, we are far behind where we need to be. And to my mind, the missing piece of that puzzle is women. Is making sure that, because there's a latent resource that we're just not tapping into, and we're not allowing them to achieve their full potential. And I do believe that if we opened things up, created a level playing field, created laws and policies that encouraged women to be able to, do whatever it is that they put their minds to, I think we'll really begin to see Nigeria turn into the Nigeria of our dreams. So my encouragement to the men is, to those who are already supporting us, please continue supporting us. And I think you get it already, that it's not a war, it's about both sides pulling together. To those who are not supporting us, look around you. Is this the Nigeria that you want, the Nigeria of your dreams? And if it isn't, perhaps you need to do a bit more to encourage the women in your lives.
So talk to us, what should people expect ahead of the 20th annual conference of WIMBIZ? We know this should be a major milestone, the 2021 edition.
It is an amazing milestone for us. And so what we've done is we have the conference itself. This year's conference comes up 4th and 5th of November. It's a hybrid conference. So we've got limited physical seats, and then we've got unlimited virtual seats. And on the virtual side, we're doing a lot to make sure that the experience is similar to if you were physically in the room. In terms of our speakers, we're going to have 2 conference chairpersons this year. Lady Maiden Ibru, as well as Chief Folake Solanke. We've got 3 amazing keynote speakers. I will not share the names here, but you will shortly be seeing our press going out. Amazing plenary sessions. We always have a debate. People love our debate. Okay. And this year's debate is very topical. So I certainly encourage everybody to be part of it. And in the run-up to the conference, there are a number of events as well. We've got a ball coming up. It's called the Legends Ball. We'll be celebrating amazing women who were forerunners. So we're really thinking we want to give women their roses while they're still alive. So we're looking out for the older women who paved the way for women like myself and Hawa to do what we're doing today. So we'll be celebrating them. We also have a golf tournament. We've got a master class, and then we've got an art and fashion exhibition, all in the run-up to the conference on the 4th and 5th. So there's a lot to do.
Right.
I can only encourage people to please visit our website, and you'll get further details.
That's really awesome. Okay, quickly before we let you go, I want you to speak on the role you think women can and will play in the 2023 elections.
So I think women have to play a number of roles. Because I think when we think of politics, some women say, well, I'm not a politician and I don't want to be part of it. And I think there's a role for politicians, so female politicians to run for elective positions. There's also a role for women to support those that are running through financial support, emotional support, and even just campaign support. Great. I think there's also a role for women to play in just getting the message out there that it's okay to see women aspire. And to also encourage the younger women to aspire. I say it's not only the president or a senator. There are lots of other political roles that I think women need to be participating in. And I think we're really good at grassroots representation. We now need to elevate that so that we can see enough women all through the strata. As I said, we really cannot have a Nigeria of our dreams without a female president, or at worst, vice president.
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much for joining us, but I must also just throw this into the ring here, because our rise is actually blazing the trail when it comes to women in management. With having our own MD talking about Ngover Ihyembe-Nwankwo, who's been setting the pace and leading by example.
She has been. She has been.
Just throw that one in. Just throw it. I want to say thank you very much for joining us here on Newsday today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.